we have Coach Mark Crocco, who will be joining us. He was the 2025 Visitors Coach and now is the head coach for the Coconuts. He just drafted an incredible team for the Loco Beach Coconuts. We are super excited to see that. So we will welcome to the stage Coach Mark Crocco. How's it going, Coach?
Tammy, Brandon, good to see you guys tonight. Man, what that guy just absolutely hit the nail on the head, and to follow up behind that guy, all right, and that's the dude right there. I'm gonna reinforce some things that you guys already heard, but he's had some opportunities as a leadoff guy. That's what it looks like right there from my guy Tanner Al. So just really, really encouraged tonight with the start of this thing, and honored to be with you guys as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, so let's jump right into it. You've drafted an awesome roster here, starting up a new team with the Loco Beach Coconuts. What's it like starting a team from scratch? And sounds like you've already have building some relationships with these players, like you've talked about with Tanner Allen. What's it like building these relationships? And yeah, what's it like just starting off this team?
Yeah, just been a tremendous experience from the start. As you guys know, I had a chance, for full immersion this summer to be the head coach of the Visitors. And, a lot of this work goes back to, and I always want to make sure when we have platforms like this, Jesse does such a great job at the top of empowering his people and putting them in the right spots and allowing them to grow. And Barry Aldridge, has done a tremendous job of identifying talent, right banana ball talent, the work that goes on in the background, and really the opportunity that we had with the Visitors first off, which is, a tremendous tryouts across the country right after selection show of just guys like Tanner Allen, guys like Ben Parker. It was, really a credit to the organization and, the people that are involved in this organization in the background. I always want to make sure we honor them first because that part has been tremendous. So I've been in college baseball for 19 years, and I've had a chance to, build relationships, make recruiting phone calls, etc. And as you guys just found out, with Tanner Allen, when you find out that you have people that burn for what it is you're on this planet, which is to encourage love and bring light to a dark world, and combine our love and passion for the game of baseball, for banana ball, and to have these platforms is just unbelievable. So, those guys, my goal in this draft was to find guys that made me better, and he's one of them. And you'll see even with Ashby, here shortly, these are guys that really understand what we're doing. They keep the main thing the main thing, and they're ultimate competitors. And I know that the product, the organization of Fans First deserves tremendous human beings, but also great baseball players, banana ball players, and these guys are going to do it to a very, very high clip. So I've just been like a kid in a candy store, man, from the start. I walked into something that I knew I was born to do and be around, and the freedom that we have to just let that light shine here is second to none, and I'm just humbled every day to get a chance to do this job.
Absolutely love that. One thing I do want to highlight with what you've brought up, I don't know if you know this, but we were at the championship game, and we were actually pretty close to where you were during that game. I was just super impressed with you standing in that same spot with fan after fan after fan for what looked like almost the whole game. Just really cool to see the dedication that you had. But like, what does it take to like do that? Like, why are you so, you've talked a little bit about it, but why this? Why banana ball? Why are you so passionate about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, even that moment, it starts at the top, right? And there's not a fan that is out of the boss man's reach. I watched him on so many platforms this summer. I actually went to a game at Oriole Park. Okay, and first night I went, I was down third base line, and the second night I intentionally went up to the upper deck in the like literally two rows from the top, and I watched players and Jesse run around and reach the 400 level. and it was totally in eyesight for them, right? And that was eye opening for me, that night to say, hey, every day, every interaction that you have is an opportunity to see somebody right where they are, right, wherever they are in life, and to bring encouragement to them. For them to be heard, for them to be seen, and for them to know that they matter. And again, that leadership starts at the top, and I believe that all of our players and myself should live in that space. And I wanted to make sure that night, right after the Loco Beach Coconuts were announced, that I shook as many hands as I could. I met as many fans as I could. I didn't want to deter from what was going on that field, and I wanted to make sure that it was one-on-one, individual, and like, hey, we're gonna see you in 2026. And I made promises that night that I would bring guys in like the two that you have on tonight, and that gave me a lot of fuel as I prepared for this draft and prepared to put a team out that where we bring Loco Beach to you, right? Well, you have to have guys that can deliver that. We have to have guys that understand the main thing. So that really, got in my heart and got in my spirit. And I believe that, to be a great team player, a great guy in any organization, that there's no job above you. You are not above any job, right? Let's talk about Reggie, right? The ultimate servant leader, right? He's impacted so many. This man's gotten, letters from the mayor of Savannah by being who he is, being a servant leader. So those were opportunities for me to really start ground zero. And those were memories I'll have for forever, because coconuts are not going away. Banana ball is not going away. We're going to look back and say, hey, these were ground foundation days, very important days. And you guys are a part of that, right? Everything that we do is our first. And, this is an opportunity for me as my first chance on, your guys' podcast here, to tell you and also to show you through these players what we're really doing here. And we'll look back, and these will be days that we'll know, hey, you know what? Those coconuts, they got off on the right foot, but they always kept the main thing the main thing. It's always been about the fans, right? It's always been about playing hard, and it's always been about bringing joy to others. And these two guys tonight will exude what I know the rest of this club knows. That's what we're about, and that's what we're going to do all year long.
For sure. Hopefully, first of many. So yeah, we're excited to have you on. I one thing that I love about Banana Ball is the distinct feel and difference between the different teams, right? And so you said that as you were talking with those fans that you're promising them that you were going to bring Loco Beach to them. How would you say how would you describe that, and like how are the Coconuts going to be different than the other teams that we've already seen?
That's a great question, and I had to draft that way, right? Because I wanted guys that were able to deliver Loco Beach to wherever we go. Well, what does that look like? And let's pause and maybe look around on a beach, right? Everyone's welcome. Doesn't matter where you're from. You don't walk, and nobody's got BMWs on the beach, right? Nobody's got a junker truck. It doesn't matter, right? Everyone's welcome. There's no status. Be who you are. Come as you are. It's a place where you can be free to know that you're loved, to know that you're cared for, and ultimately, I think what Banana Ball does is get these guys back to that. I've talked about it. It's become a coined phrase, but that love space. Where these guys were 10, 11, 12 years old in the backyard, playing their hearts out, right? Playing Little League, with joy every single day. And that's what we want people to walk away from when they say, okay, hey, we're going to play in Minnesota, right? We're going to play in Massachusetts. And even though we may not be in a coined phrase place that is the beach, we are going to have a chance to do that post-game plaza in and throughout every single game. And hopefully we evoke some of those same feelings that people get while they're on the beach. And I think it's a very life-giving place as well. And I wanted to make sure that my players were able to exude that. And Coach Victorino said it best, that we're going to play hard, right? And Jesse even said it, in the early go, the ultimate competitors, right? The ultimate life givers every single day. day in and day out, and they're going to have fun doing it together. And obviously, Tanner Allen kicked us off tonight, on what it's really all about. That dude plays the game hard. And I knew that. I knew what we were, getting when we made that draft pick there. And come to find out, he's a beach bum in the background, huh? Right. So here I am, been a baseball guy myself, but that's always been my place as well. And I think, Ashby will tell you here in a minute, it's been a place that fills him back up. That's a life-giving place. And that is the same for so many people in the country. So what an opportunity for us, to be that place where people can come as they are, allow them to be loved on, and allow them to be entertained, obviously, by how hard we play and how competitive our players are.
I love that. Thank you. I want to highlight one of the things that you mentioned there of like you drafted players for the Loco Beach. Like obviously like what goes into that? Like what were you like, can you give us any examples of like a specific player where you're like, this is the piece of them that we need for Loco Beach?
That's great. Awesome question. Well, let's start with the obvious. I think many people saw the next young man that's coming on the podcast here that, even in our visitor song, when I go to the beach, my hair is always shining. This dude's taking pictures with a surfboard. So there's the obvious one, right? But then I made some promises to myself as I was evaluating and watching Rack, watching Meadows, and watching Alexiadis in the outfield. I knew the value, because I saw it firsthand, of elite, high-level athletes in the outfield in banana ball. And it's so important. And those guys, I honor them. They have raised the bar. It is electric what they do. They cover incredible ground. They all have big-time arms. They're very instinctive, and they're great players. So I told myself, I'm like, all right, hey, if I run into that guy that can really backflip and's got some juice, I'm not missing him. And then, obviously Ben Parker, who you had on last week, this guy's doing it at will and hitting balls over 450 feet, playing the game extremely hard, and then I found out he was loyal. He stayed at the Division III school, for the duration, and then put up mega numbers at William and Mary, checked out on every level as far as being that ultimate competitor. And then coupling him with a guy like Tanner Allen, right out of the gate in this draft, I felt like we were going to, you're never going to rival those guys. Those are stalwarts in banana ball, those other guys. But obviously, I felt like that was going to be a really important piece right away, to make sure we took care of some of those spots. And then, as you guys know, the traditional, you got to recruit up the middle, right? And I think we went and got two incredible catchers with obviously Ashby Vining and Eric Osberg, who's a tremendous left-handed bat, power bat, and started up the middle. And then Peyton Chatnier, obviously, and Sal Jacobo, Dalton Malden in the middle. I mean, I can keep going. But when you're building a team, you have to go straight through the middle, straight through the heart of it. And we were able to execute that at a really high clip.
Love that. Yeah, no, we were really impressed with the drafting from all of the teams, but really love how the Coconuts are shaking up.
For sure. So we've got a couple of questions in the chat that we wanted to bring up. A lot of people are looking forward, obviously looking forward to the season, and one of the questions I wanted to bring up here, because we got the full schedule right. We've got a question here from Pat's fan. The squad looks great. What will be your favorite stadium of the tour? Is there one that you're particularly excited about?
There's a lot of them, but if I got to pick one, Gillette Stadium. We're going to play in Tom Brady's zone in New England. And obviously, I have, had visions of what this could look like in a football stadium. And then to know it's those hallowed grounds in Foxborough, I mean, that's like, I'm going to have energy. I don't care how many people are in stands or not. That one, we're going to have, the juice is going to be running. All right. That is going to be a unbelievable opportunity for these guys. And, it's going to be right in that like perfect spot. And I believe in a banana ball baseball season right in August, man. Like what an awesome time when everybody's like in it. It's time to go. I think there'll be some real identity, stakes on the line, within the league and the league standings. That's one I've got highlighted as one of the most unbelievable opportunities to put these guys on a big stage. It's a great question.
Love that. Thank you. Yeah, there's so many cool places you guys are going, but I think that's anytime it's a football stadium, that's bookmarked for sure. So.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess could you take us back as well? We talked a little about the current state with the Coconuts, but what got you into being a baseball coach and a little bit of that experience that then brought you to today being with Banana Ball?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. My first, real job in college baseball was at the Air Force Academy out in Colorado Springs. So I was very fortunate to get a chance to go serve those that will serve our country. I knew about halfway through my time in college that I wanted to build men, that I wanted to help, be a part of winning a national championship, had high goals and aspirations to do that. I had a chance to watch some high level coaches do it right in front of my eyes. But I know when I look back now, especially with this job, some things have come full circle, like understanding what servant leadership's really all about. Nobody does it better than those cadets. Nobody did it better than Mike Kozlowski, the head coach that's been there. He was a 22-year vet. He flew C-17s. I got a chance to really watch that happen front and center. And then during my time there is when I met Coach Gillum. And we used to run camps all over the country for DeMarini Top 96. Was kind of one of the big prospect events that revolutionized the prospect camps in our early go as young coaches. And we hit it off right away. We were both infield guys, very passionate about it, passionate about the game. Me and Gilly always just, man, there was something about him that it was just like, that's my dude. It's like, it's my family. And through the years, we kept in touch. Fast forward, I went to Presbyterian as the recruiting coordinator, and was there for 5 years and eventually became the associate head coach, and really had, found a way to find the right fit for that place, guys that play hard, blue collar, hard nosed baseball players. And we were able to really have some success at a small private college at Division I level. And then when I went to Erskine, one of the first things I did was, you want to place your guys in summer ball. And, Gillum had just taken the position with the Bananas, and I knew what was happening because, he kind of kept me in the loop. And I always talk about the value of serving your community. It's always been a staple for me in any baseball program I've been in. It's like see others, serve others. And I got a chance to watch that happen as they laid foundation in Savannah. And I would send my captains every summer. So, send a young man by the name of Matt Arias down, really good arm. And then after that, Drew Yanesta, right? And then he stayed for 2, and I think it may have been 3 summers, won a couple championships with them, hit a huge knock in the championship game, I believe it was. And, Biko calls me to get some quotes. And I just like every summer I would go down. And then Becerra, Levon Reynoso, like stalwarts. Johnny Hummel was my closer, right? Now he's with firefighters. Like it just always seemed like everything brought me back to Savannah. And I would go down and visit every summer. And every time I was there, I was just like, man, this is my family. Like I just felt it, but you never see these moments later on. You're just in the moment. You're like, those are my dudes. Like, and this is great for my guys because I know it's going to help them be better people and better leaders. And then obviously fast forward to the visitors, right? There was the first year of the visitors, and there was a little discussion, but at that point, unfortunately, my dad had gotten sick with cancer, and he's doing well now. He beat it, and we're on the other side of it. But I was by his side that summer, and got a chance to show up for my dad, which man, I'm blessed and honored that I had a chance to do. And then fast forward about 12 months, we're on the other side of it. Gilly calls me up. He's like, listen, man, I think you'd be perfect for this. And I got, we talk about green lights in this organization. It was neon green lights left and right. We don't have enough time for me to tell you, but it was like the Lord just smacked me in the face and was like, you're doing this. And I was like, okay, we're going to do it. And I stepped into this thing, June 1, and I sat in a circle of dudes, and I introduced myself and let them do that all the way around. And we had a powerful evening together, laid our guards down, got as real as we could with them. And I've been 17 years old ever since, boys. And I felt like I am, just in my absolute space, just go be you, go love people, let your light shine, do it day in and day out. And I knew it during those 6 weeks. And ironically, the first thing we did with those visitors was play banana ball, wiffle ball on the beach, unbeknownst to me that there would be a beach team. But that's where it all began, was down at Tybee Island with those dudes. And we have memories that will last us a lifetime. And, I honor those guys, man. I love every single one. I wish I could have took all of them. I really do. It ended up being 7, which is a pretty high clip. But those guys were unbelievable for those 6 weeks. And we really built a family together. And I took very seriously, that I wanted to get the heartbeat of this thing right in the organization, and we enthralled ourselves with those fans day in and day out. And whether they're on this team or not, those guys are going to impact for what we took from those 6 weeks, 100%.
For sure. No, that's absolutely incredible. And yeah, we loved watching the visitors and what you did there. So really glad you wound up here in Banana Ball.
For sure. We've got a couple more questions here. One just came in that I thought was just awesome that I didn't want to forget to ask. So we've got this question here. Coach, how do you coach the team on the performance element? Do you just leave that up to the entertainment team, or do you like to be involved and advise on that?
Really good question. We have professionals, obviously. And, one thing that, I mentioned earlier with Jesse, kind of putting everybody in their realms, you let them go create and do what they need to do. So I'm always going to honor everybody that's in their certain spaces. But I do take into account, on a daily basis that, we have to have eyesight of that, right? And there have to be places that I create on a daily basis for them to identify some of that, especially with the visitors. So one of the things that we worked on with the visitors, like we made it a drill. They worked on their home run celebrations. They worked on scoring from third base with some swag. They worked on some things on the mound, like what would that look like for you? Because I think what's great about this is you can make it organic, right? Like you can be you. And, one of our first meetings that we had in some fans' first training, like write down ideas, write down things that you think could be you, and ultimately, like, my Air Force background, one of my things was, I was like, hey, you know what? This is going to be America's team, and I'm going to wear some American flags. And I had socks that were, American flag driven, my shoes, right? Like there's spaces that are built into this daily where I want them to have freedom, to identify who they are as players and as people, and tie that in, because they're very in tune with, I think, what these guys are doing. And then obviously the freedom that they have on socials to create content and become their own, brand per se inside of the brand. Our people there do a tremendous job of empowering everybody where they work. I mean, look at Fisher Polydorf. I mean, that's the man, right? Just think about some of those moments that he had, this summer. Yeah, yes, they were oriented towards him, but, they put it right in his wheelhouse, right? And I wanted to give him spaces to do that. I called him Moonlight Graham. Field of Dreams was one of my favorite, movie. Just, it was such an entity. And then Daisy was running around because he's a great athlete too. I'm like, dude, Archie Graham, what's happening, big guy? And he just embraced it, and he's the ultimate throwback. Like that's just one example of many where I think our entertainment team did a really good job of tying in to what these guys are. And I want our players to have spaces to identify that on a daily basis. So the answer is yes. Yes, we have entertainment and they do a great job, but I do on a daily basis try to find spots and places for them to have freedom to grow and find out who they are. Because again, back to it, when I was recruiting these teams, when I was watching guys, whether it's at the visitors or at these tryouts, I wanted to sit like a fan. I wanted to be a fan, and Ben Parker, like I walked away, I was like, I just hadn't seen anybody like him, like I watched him do things on a baseball field. I'm like, we have to have that guy on Loco Beach because, he brings those moments that we talked about that Rack and Meadows, Lexiatis, that those guys can bring that I felt watching those other guys play. Right. So it's a perfect marriage between the athlete, the person, right, and then obviously the entertainer that's given stages to go shine.
For sure. Really appreciate that. So before Ashby's going to be coming on in a little bit, wanted to ask this before before you're gone today. You mentioned it earlier. Shane Victorino is going to be the primetime coach. What is that like for you, being able to be on the Coconuts, head coach? He's there as the primetime coach, getting to work with him. Like, what has those experiences been like so far, and what are you most excited about with that?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, from day one, when I met Shane, obviously it was at the selection show, right? And he comes in, man, and he is just as real and authentic as he can possibly be, right? And I've been fortunate over the years. I've had some opportunities to, hang around some guys that are professional players and et cetera. And the thing that I know is like they're real people. But Shane is different. That guy totally, again, back to, the conversation with Tanner Allen, like, this man is he's the island man. He's going to live that every day, right? He is going to be authentic in everything that he does, and he truly sees others, or else he would have never have done this, right? He knows what fans first is really all about, and he has a heart for people. And I saw that immediately. And obviously, me being a little bit younger, I got a chance to watch his career growing up, and I've always been very drawn to players that play extremely hard. Kind of throwback dirtbag kind of baseball player guys, right? That run hard 90s every time and get out of the box and are high level competitors. Shane was always one of those guys for me growing up. I have a lot of respect for him, but we hit it off immediately because we burn from the same candle. We see others. We love the game, and we love guys that play the game extremely hard. And that was really refreshing for me, knowing that, hey, man, like, we're going to be on the same page as we go throughout this journey together. So it's been a tremendous relationship that we've had, and he's been so supportive in and throughout, and has honored me as the head coach, and has been totally behind all these picks and all these decisions that we've made because, we see the same thing for Loco Beach. We want great people, great competitors, and ultimate team guys.
Love that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So before we end here, should we do a couple more fan questions and then end? All right. So sorry, I just saw one and then I lost it.
I think this one's a good one. This one's a fun one.
Okay, that's a funny one. Yeah.
What SPF for the sunscreen is recommended for a day on Loco Beach?
I love it. All right, I'm coming behind Tanner Allen. SPF 0. He put that out one day. Just as like a, like line in the sand, right? Like, I'm all in. You know what I mean? I just thought it was a very, TA comment, but that is a great thought. And again, all are welcome. So guess what? If you're fair skinned, you pack it on. It's all good. Come on, you're welcome at Loco Beach, right? You got the Hawaiian descent, like the flying Hawaiian. Come on and bring it, right? Everyone's welcome. We love all of you. You name it. But Tanner Allen made that comment one time. I had to take that opportunity to go see it.
I love it. Yeah, all in. No sunscreen on Loco Beach. You got to soak it all in.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, any final thoughts for the fans today? Anything that they need to know from you going into next season?
Yeah, I just want you guys to know that, like, this team is going to be extremely accessible. They are seeking opportunities to do the first. Everything that we do for Loco Beach is our first, and I really value that, and I value that they have ownership in it as well. So, just know that they are looking and seeking opportunities to be accessible to the fans and to grow relationships with the fans and for people to see, that this thing's not going away. I am a firm believer that we're just getting started in banana ball, and this team, this brand, the opportunity that we have to get this thing off the ground. I could go through the entire list, but think about guys like Andy Archer, Dalton Malden, Chris Minsky, Kyle Perry. Some of these guys have been in with the Bananas, right, that are true professionals that have been around, that know what it looks like. And then some great pros, right, to come alongside of them. National champs, you got a league champ in Jacobo, right, from last year, played shortstop on the team that won the championship. You got Peyton Chaudier won a national championship with Ole Miss. These guys are winners. Brewer, right? Guy's been to Omaha, You know, he's a stud. I can keep going, right? And I can go through this whole list. These guys are winners, and they understand what they're here to do, and that's to serve these fans and to give them a great product on the field. So keep an eye out for us. These guys are all doing a great job on socials. Follow them, and just know that we are here to bring Loco Beach to you and your families day in and day out, and we're honored to do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Croc. Really appreciate it. We're so looking forward to the Coconuts next year and appreciate all of your time here today.
No, I appreciate both of you guys. You guys are real dudes, and you know the heart that you guys have for doing this. This has been a no-brainer for us to jump on, and the way you've honored our players over time as well. I want to thank you guys for all that you do.
Of course, we love it, and thank you, and go Coconuts.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for letting us take over tonight.
Of course. Thanks, Coach.